we know that Elon Musk posts a lot, and he posted about Grok 4.3. So there's an official post from XAI. Grok 4.3 is now live on the X API. It's our fastest, most intelligent model to date, and it tops the artificial analyst leaderboard in agentic tool calling and instruction following. So let us go to this post and let's see what else they have mentioned over here. It tops the artificial analyst leaderboard in agentic tool calling and instruction following and ranks number one in Val's AI enterprise domains like case law and corporate finance. Grok 4.3 supports a million token context window and is priced at $1.25 per million input and $2.5 per million output. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the link of this and I'm gonna go to Grok itself, and I'll be asking it to explain this to me. So Grok is one of the very interesting tools that I've been using lately. It's a wonderful AI. Tell me everything important about it. You see, I'm gonna give it this link and it's gonna be pulling up all the data and information that it has, and that is gonna help us basically understand how big is Grok 4.3. So it says Grok 4.3 is the latest flagship model from XAI, and it was released on the X API on May 5th. It is described as their fastest and most intelligent model to date. So what else do they have that could be important to read and understand? So we discussed about the performance, like the benchmarks and its performance on the benchmarks. The context window, we talked about that. The pricing seems competitive to me, I think. Capabilities and strengths, this is something I think we should look into. What does it have to offer? Excels at multi-step workflows, function calling, and reliable tool integration. For example, code execution, web, Excel files. It shows major gains in real-world agentic tasks. For example, plus 300 ELO on some valuations. What exactly does this mean? So gaining plus 300 ELO in chess or seeing a jump in performance evaluation. So does this relate to chess? We can ask Gemini about this. What is 300 ELO refers to a chess rating on platforms like chess.com. Then reasoning and enterprise, strong in instruction following, low hallucination rates. This is very important for any AI. And I think Grok itself is quite factual. So it should understandably have lower hallucination rates. Specialized domains like law, finance. We even saw this over here where they mentioned about the score that it got on legal reasoning and corporate finance. Sports reasoning modes, low, medium, high effort mentioned in user feedback. So with this, I think if you go for the low one, it's gonna use less tokens, and high effort will use more tokens. And then it's multimodal text and image inputs, and definitely outputs as well. And it's the fastest Grok yet. High output tokens per second on XAI's infrastructure. Grok itself is quite fast, and like you saw over here, I'm using the fast version, which you saw over here. So I think this is gonna be the fastest, and even on all the benchmarks, Grok happens to be the fastest. So other features: prompt caching, structured outputs, compatibility with OpenAI, Anthropic SDKs. We need to learn more about it. Let us ask Grok what this exactly means. So we are going to see what it says. Compatibility with OpenAI and Anthropic SDKs mean that XAI's Grok API, including Grok 4.3, is designed to work as a drop-in replacement for code written for OpenAI's GPT model or Anthropic Cloud model. You don't need to rewrite your application or learn completely new library. Just change a few lines, usually the base URL and the API key, and your existing code will call Grok instead. So let us ask it to explain this in simple terms. Now I think it would be more understandable. So it means that you can use Grok 4.3 with the same code you already use ChatGPT or Claude. So if your app is using ChatGPT or Claude, with the same code you can use Grok 4.3. So in easy words, normally if you write a program for ChatGPT, you have to use special open AI code. With Grok 4.3, you don't need to change your program much. Just two changes. Just put your X AI key instead of open AI key. Change the address to point to X AI. Why is it good? Saves a lot of time. You do not need to learn new coding rules. Easy to test or switch to Grok. It's like using the same plug for different machines. Just change the socket a little bit. Yeah, so this seems a developer friendly feature. Okay, so let us read about the user and developer feedback. So X has like access to a lot of real time things happening on the X platform, and people usually take to the X platform to discuss this sort of stuff. So many builders were excited about the price to performance, integrating it for agents, research, coding, and voice. One XAI engineer called it their favorite since Grok 4. So fast responses and reliability in workflow noted. Some mention it still has occasional issues like hallucination, consistency in a very long agent chain, and few user report service glitches. Okay, comparison. Competitive or beat the top models in the agentic or enterprise niche at a lower price. Though leaders like Claude and GPT variant may edge out in some creative or ultra complex reasoning. So I think we can ask Grok about the pricing, how it compares to the other models out there. So we can ask Grok about this. Okay, Grok, tell me about the pricing of Grok 4.3 and compare it with the other models out there. So give me the results in tabular form as a comparison. So now we are going to see how it compares. We are using the Grok fast version and let's see how fast it's going to give us the results. I think it's going to be super fast. One of our audience asked why use Grok instead of Gemini. I use both actually, and Grok has access to a lot of real-time information from the X platform, and Gemini is wonderful. Gemini, I have the paid versions of both, and Gemini, since on the back end of it is the Google search, so it also goes out there on the internet, finds the news, puts it basically puts them into understandable form. And I use Gemini mostly for like doing research related to stocks and stuff. If there's any new news related to a certain stock, it will go out there, and it will, I also ask it to relate it to like the price action and the movements. So Gemini itself is quite good. I have been using Gemini and Grok both, but if I need anything like quickly, if I need to understand anything quickly, I go to Grok. Or if there's anything that I feel like could be on the X platform and I need it summarized, so for that I use Grok, because usually sometimes the updates are coming first to the X platform and then they get picked up by the news agencies, and then they put out the articles and news and it gets listed on Google. So that's how it comes later on the Google infrastructure. So if you ask me, I'm using both and I'm fine with using both of them and paying for both of them. So pricing comparison table per 1 million token standard rates. So Grok 4.3 input price 1.25, output price 2.50, then GPT 4o 2.5 for input and 10 for output, and this one is highly used. Then GPT 5.4, the latest one, 2.50 for input and 15 for output. Insane. And then Claude Opus, $5 for input per million token and $25 for output. That is, guys, insane. But according to Grok, Claude Opus 4.6 has top reasoning and is the most expensive. Then there's Gemini. Let's talk about this Gemini 3.1 Pro. So it's $2 per million tokens on the input and $12 on the output. So Grok 4.3 basically becomes the cheapest among the frontier level models, especially on the output tokens. One thing that we observed, that the output price per million tokens is way higher for most of these models, especially look at Anthropic and the other ones. So I think it comes about to like 5 times more higher, but over here it's almost like double in Grok 4.3. So this is super interesting, guys. Grok 4.3 stands as a highly cost effective for developers building agents, RAG systems, or handling large documents.